Little Feat are a southern rock band who were formed in LA in 1969. So they were formed by two guys, Bill Payne, who was the keyboard player, and Lowell George, who was the singer and guitarist. Um, so the story goes, there are various different versions apparently. Lowell was fired from Frank Zappa's Mothers of Invention, and there are several different stories why, but it was to do with a song called Willin'. And but the breakup was amicable enough for Frank Zappa to help Little Feat then get on their feet and get a contract. So they existed since 1969, and in 1979 they released their eighth album. However, Lowell George had disbanded Little Feat partway through recording the album because he got quite disgruntled at the musical direction the band was going in and disagreements with other members of the band. He then created a solo album and was in the process of touring that when he died of a heart attack. At that point, the other members of Little Feat got back together, finished the album, and then disbanded again. Um, Flash forwards a little bit, and several members of the band were hired to work on an album by a woman called Helen Watson, and this was 1987, and Little Feat reformed at that point. And they've been going ever since. They've had a few member changes, but it's been quite a long time. And in the intervening time, they've created 9 more albums, although the latest, as I record this, was in 2012, which was 11 years ago. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is the 4th studio album by Little Feat. It's my first time listening to it. I have previously reviewed on this channel a live album of theirs, which I really liked. And we're going to find out together what I thought of this album. So, it's been described by Acclaimed Music and Wikipedia variously as southern rock and country funk. I would describe it as being, yeah, so I like the southern rock uh, thing. I think there's a very strong funk element in here, especially in the rhythm section. So the bass and the drums in particular have quite a funk feel to them. There's more than a hint of blues at times, I would say, especially in the guitar playing. Um, and I would say I didn't really detect much that I would describe as being country. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. It did give me the thought that sometimes or sometimes when I've encountered funk, it's definitely been soul funk, and sometimes when I've encountered funk, it's definitely been more on the rock side of things. I don't know. Soul and rock aren't, they're not two sides of a coin, they're not opposed to each other, there's kind of a strong overlap between them. But it had occurred to me in the past that some of the funk that I really like from the kind of P-Funk stuff, Parliament Funkadelic, and that sort of things, has quite a strong rock side to it. Whereas other things like James Brown and a bit later Prince is very much kind of in the soul feel going on. Maybe, and this has just occurred to me listening to this album, maybe this is about what you put on top of the funk bedding. So maybe your bed is funk, but your duvet is either rock or soul, or possibly it could be something else. So can you get folk funk? Maybe you can. I wonder what else you could get in there. All right. Anyway, um, I'm just going to pull out Spanish Moon as one of the tracks here because that's possibly the funkiest song on the album. And they add to the funk sound by having brass in there and a kind of clavinet sounding like bass, which is quite a funk sound. And interleave backing vocals, and also one long continuous chord, which is definitely a kind of P-funk sort of thing. Just kind of you get this groove going, and you're in a kind of extended chord, and you don't really have chord changes. Um, it felt to me like they felt like a live band who've gone into the studio and are trying to faithfully represent what they do live. Um, so I mean, I've no idea how it was recorded. It feels to me like they've recorded it basically as a band rather than doing bits and then overlaying. A lot of studio recording is done with overdubs and doing bits at a time and pulling it in and doing lots and lots of takes. Maybe they had lots of takes and maybe they did do overdubs and punch stuff in and out because that's kind of standard technique, or was at the time. Um, but it did feel like they could well have been playing together, the majority of them, because it has that kind of band feel. So I was listening to it and I was thinking, does that mean I think it's tight? And no, it's not as tight as, say, something that's kind of metronomic like ZZ Top, or lots of other bands are tighter than this. But it's not. Neither is it loose. It's kind of elastic in that it breathes. The band feel like they're playing together and they're playing off each other. As I was thinking about this and listening to one of the tracks, I noticed there was just a slight speed up, and everybody kind of just went with it. And again, that could happen in the studio, but it's more likely to happen if a band are playing together, and you get that kind of breathe and the feel of it. It felt like they didn't particularly try and make strong use of the extra things that a studio can give you, and that they really were just focusing on what they can do as a band, which is pretty good. So I enjoyed it musically. I mean, I like rock, and I really like both blues and funk. So there's a lot here for me to like with this field. There's quite a variety of different grooves that they've got, but in general, it's got that kind of mix of funk and slightly kind of almost swamp feel to it, which is great. Yeah. I'm going to talk about the singing. It's fine. It's not distinctive or something that would make you go, "Ooh, that the voice is the kind of central thing here." It's not. The groove is the central thing here. The lyrics are not really the focus, and I didn't pick up a lot of if there was any earth-shattering lyrics in here. I don't think so. Um, but yeah, I really like the grooves and I like the music. So yeah, for me, this was a good album. As always, I'd love to know if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, what you think of this album. Please do share, not just with me, but by anyone else who reads the comments. This is a public forum. You get to have your say, so please do so. And that's it from me for now.
Down the street, I heard such a soft tune.